Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our After Dark show where we just kind of hang out and chat. How's everybody doing tonight? I see a couple of you guys on here. I sent out the link to some guys that typically normally always join. So, yeah, if anybody wishes to jump on, send me a message. I'll send you the link or feel free to chat away in the comments section. Um, I listened to a fair amount of podcasts, and there was kind of something that I was listening to that kind of hit home to me, and it's because I'm a tournament angler, kind of, sort of, not really. I don't. I'm not the best tournament angler out there. I'm just a guy that fishes. Is the best way to say it. I do okay, but I'm not the best tournament angler out there. And so the thought process that I heard, or I was listening to, and it kind of just hit home, or kind of made me think about things. We got our first guy here. How you doing, Sean?
What is going on?
I was just kind of going on a small rant there.
I missed it. I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, we can repeat. I listen to a fair amount of podcasts. I'm not the best tournament angler out there. I'm new to tournament fishing compared to, say like yourself or Damien and
You,
all of our West Coast hammers.
you, you're definitely someone to. You know what? You're definitely someone to reckon with when you're out there when you're fishing. When
I mean,
I
we got
see you on
Damien
the
down there.
list, I'm like, oh shoot, Max is fishing. All right, because
Well,
we know what you're
yeah.
capable of doing.
Well, so what I mean when I say I'm not the best tournament angler out there is I don't really have that tournament mentality. As in I've always just gone and I've always just fished and had fun, and then that was it. Whether I catch a 2 pounder, or I catch 100 fish, or I catch one big fish, or I catch no fish, I just go and I catch fish and have fun, which is different from your set tournament mentality, regardless of whether it's on a boat or a kayak. A tournament's a
Yeah,
tournament. Mentality wise, on a kayak, it is different because your process is different than, say, on a boat side, right? You can't hit those key feeding areas that you want like you could on a boat, or
right.
have multiple areas to hit. But I heard, I was listening to a show, and I heard them talking about, do you feel like like, because we don't fish much 2 day or multiple day events, but the pros fish a lot of like 2 or 3 day events, on the elites, on the opens,
Yeah,
and so on and so forth. And so I've heard, and just listening, just my thought process is every event that I go into it, do I make those adjustments and do I get better, as I'm going through the course of that 8 hour, or say if it's a 2 day event, do I make the adjustments to catch better fish on the following day?
right.
Because I mean, you could attest to it. I mean, Yakabat Solo day 2, right? Those fish, the fishing changed. And
Oh yeah,
still fish there, but the fishing changed.
yeah.
And so, what hits me home is more so a tournament angler, like a really good tournament angler, like, say, for example, like, Damien, he's in the comments, which
Damien,
is, yeah,
Damien,
it's pretty awesome.
Damien slash PS twin.
Yeah. Slash PS Twin. Yeah. But
Perfect.
but it's always, when after every tournament that I finish, I always go back and I always say, did I make the right adjustments? Do I think I could have done better? Do I, I sometimes while you're fishing, right, that you're not on the winning fish. Sometimes you're on fish to, say, cash a check or make a top 5 or top 10,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever it may be, because everybody goes into it expecting to, their pre-fish basically gives them what they expect to fish. I've seen that, Sean. Yeah. But haven't gonna be going off on my rant, but essentially, the thought process is, do you compare your notes? Does because fishing always changes yearly. It changes. We could go back to the same lake, and it changes.
Yep.
We go back the next day or the next week, and it changes. Certain areas and certain patterns may not play anymore. We're seeing, right, that the mid-stroll live scope thing is what you could say most consistent, right? Or more consistent.
Yeah.
Across the board. It's a pattern that will play across the board most of the time.
Yeah. Depend on fishery, of course, but yeah. It's in play. It's definitely in play. It's not necessarily going after the suspended fish and stuff, but even seeing fish on top of rock piles or cruising the bottom, stuff like that, it's always in play now.
Yeah, it's always in play now. But essentially, the rant that I was kind of going on was every single time I finish an event, I always go back and I always go see, well, if I would have left this spot and maybe jumped to a different higher percentage spot, what during that event did I make the best adjustments to essentially fish that event well? Do I feel like I did everything that I possibly could do in that 8-hour time span to capitalize on as many fishes as I could catch? Should I made a more finesse adjustment earlier? Should I continue to, fish for a big bite? Those are things that I always try to review and note. But I also feel like sometimes you get into a rut where you're like, you make all those decisions and those decisions, they never pan out. They never pan out. You don't get the bites. You could be doing the right thing, whether it's seasonal patterns.
Yeah.
Or you're catching them on whatever, say you're on an A-rig bite and you just have that gut feeling and knowing that they're in those rocks. Let me go throw an A-rig over there and pull them off those rocks and catch them on those rocks. And you could do it, but you don't get those bites.
Right.
So I guess all I'm just trying to say is I don't have that mentality for me, that small mentality for me to figure out and get better at doing that has never really grown or I've never figured it out just because I've never really been a tournament angler. This is only my third season, officially being quote unquote a tournament angler.
Yeah.
We got another guy.
What do you got?
What's up, fellas?
Yeah.
How you doing, Isaiah?
My teammate.
I'm good.
Was he pulling a bowl of cereal? What's he doing?
I'm putting the weights away you gave me.
Oh. There you
Fine,
go.
after a week.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Sean. You fished for longer than I have. Do you?
My thing is, well, I totally understand what you're saying, Max, because I fished Folsom for years. I got a bunch of plaques from Future Pro Tour that date back to 2003. I had a lot of success on that lake, but my second year my kayak, Folsom Lake, I skunked.
Yeah.
And I was like going off of, okay, the fish should be doing this, they should be doing that. And I literally lost my mind after that tournament. I was so mad. I didn't want to talk to anybody because I'm just like, what the heck am I doing wrong? And it comes down to the little experiences you have on the lake and, go running through the scenarios and stuff, because everybody, before you go fishing, before you fish a tournament, we all have like ideas and plans pretty much when we go out there. Okay. The fish should be doing this right now. Maybe they're on the rock piles. Maybe they're up shallow. Maybe they're deep and stuff. And, for instance, the Folsom tournament, I'm like, oh, the wind's blowing this certain direction. This is going to be perfect. The fish should be up shallow. So I started, casting out a spinnerbait first thing in the morning. Second cast, boom, hooked up. I'm like, oh, it's on. Yeah, it was like a 4-pound clawfish. just tore up my spinner bait. Then after 30 minutes, I kind of fished some, high quality areas that should hold fish. Wind was blowing there. Everything looked perfect. There was no fish there. Even according to my life scope, there wasn't no fish. But on my way out there, I always have my graphs on, and I was paying attention to my graphs. I went over some structure in 35 to 45 feet deep, and I kind of slowed down. I'm like, oh, hold on a second. I still got like 15 minutes before the line's in. Let's see what this is. I grabbed some fish, and there was, I think one of the keys to that area that I found, there were bait balls in there. And it wasn't just bait that's just spread out. They were just tight balls. And usually when you see it, when they're tying up like that, there's fish around, and most likely they're being chased. Yeah. So I found that first thing in the morning, and I was like, okay, so after I ditched the that shallow water bite that wasn't there, I went out 35 to 45 feet deep with a drop shot and caught a fish, and got another one. Then the wind pushed me, like 50 feet off my spot. Then I'm like, oh shoot, let me reposition. Trying to reposition, that wind crashing over the front of the kayak was a kind of a pain, but pay attention to my electronics, and I'm like, oh, there's something right underneath me. Boom, cool. Caught a largemouth, cool. Then caught a smallmouth. Then got blown around some more. Then it just got a little too hairy where I was, and I'm looking around and I can't see anybody within shouting distance. So I'm like, if this goes bad, I'm in trouble. And I'll probably end up closer to going to Granite Bay than trying to get back to Browns Ravine.
So you were quite a ways out there then.
So I ditched that. I just didn't feel being safe. Then came back in. But that was just kind of, that right there is just kind of just fishing the moment, and just kind of, I don't want to be like freestyle fishing, but that's pretty much what it was. And just like, dude, you're adapting right there on the water, making those.
So you made those adjustments on the water. We'll get to you too, Isaiah, because I'm curious on how you feel about your day at Folsom as well. But do you feel like you fished that day well? You know what I mean? As in, how do you rate yourself? What I mean is, obviously winning is, the ultimate rating, of course, but you can't always win. Not in tournament fishing. It just doesn't happen that way. So how can you put a rating oh yeah, today I fished well, or this weekend, I fished well. I fished this event well. How do you, because there's sometimes, right? Just sometimes where the bite is just brutal. The fish are completely just shut off and you catch one fish, or whoever wins catches three fish, and it's just, he just so happened to be in the right place at the right time, and he got the bites. Right. And there's just sometimes where, kind of like Folsom, as you were given example, where you make the adjustments to catch those fish. But how do you, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, when do you feel like you actually fished to the most of your ability on that specific day? So how would you rate that day for you, I guess is, because we're our own critiques, basically. Nobody critiques us. We as the anglers know what we messed up on. We as the anglers, we don't have a coach, right? We know whether we fish poorly. We know whether we fish good if we win. And sometimes even if you win, you're like, well, I still could have done better, but I messed up. I couldn't make that right adjustment to catch, I don't know, say that extra 5-pounder, just for example.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess, how do you guys self-critique each other, or self-critique? Yeah. How do you critique? I can't talk right now. How do you critique yourself? Because it's, everybody plays their own games,
Tell us about your day, Isaiah. We should get something to the tournament. Much about the tournament, really.
Pretty
Fair,
much.
yeah.
I mean, I kind of just started late. I'm like, I looked at the old time for Lions for starting time was 8. I'm like, oh, I didn't know they changed it. So Sean called me, 6? Hey, where you at? I'm like, I ain't left yet. I'll be there. Showed up. Everyone's already gone from the ramp. I get there or whatever. And he's all, I'm gonna go fish such and such spot. I'm like, okay, cool. When the wind, whatever. If you're on them, I'll come out slowly or whatever. Just got to figure out where to go. I went up the arm and kind of found no fish shallow and went in some little deeper pocket like a valley. I noticed there was fish on the bottom, but they wouldn't commit to anything if you were on top of them. So I'm sitting in 20 feet, casting out into deeper water, dragging a jig, and that's how I got my one bite.
Yeah, lots of help. Thanks. Jeez, no.
Hey, I tried. I gave it my all. I saw Max over there.
He caught our big one.
So my question to you is, do you feel like you fished well that event, Isaiah?
At strictly at Folsom, yes. If you can go home and not have a skunk board, you fish great.
How about you, Sean?
That's how I feel about it.
I fished good. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to take some of that momentum from last season over to this year. I thought I fished good. I didn't lose any fish, That's all plus. I knew that when I caught that one that was 17, I knew we were on the, good quality fish. And in practice, I only caught like 2 fish in practice. I practiced like 2 weeks prior. I went all the way up the river, like to the old bridge. It was current, like crystal clear water. Water was perfect. It was just snow melt water. So got out of there, went back out main body, caught like 2 fish. I'm like, okay, cool, gotta go home.
Gotcha.
But so I know a lot of people know that Isaiah and I got off the water at 2:00. We didn't stay on the water till 4. A week prior to the tournament, I washed my all my rain gear, unzipped everything and dried it out. I did side zippers on my bibs, on my Sims Pro Dry. So I took a wave on the side of the kayak. It went on my right side, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's cold!" Then I turned, then I hit another wave, and it got me on the left side. So my rain bibs with my sweatpants on were just like a bag full of water, just sloshing back and forth.
Fair enough.
Then, the conditions got a little colder. The wind picked up more, and it just got to the point it was miserable. Isaiah and I were both kind of fishing the same area, closer to the ramp. We were graphing fish, just couldn't get any of them to go.
They were lockjaw.
And we're just like, dude, let's just call it, man, and see how it goes. Hopefully,
they weren't really that locked up.
Well, it depends on where you were.
I see your question here, Judy. We'll get to you about best strategies.
Ooh, I like that question. Great question, Judy. Great question.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out there real quick. I don't feel like I fished that well. Me personally. Yeah.
How many fish total did you catch? Keepers.
Oh, I don't know. Like 10 or 12, something like that.
That's good.
Yeah, 10 or 12. I caught them.
So this time of year, that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
I caught them strolling. I caught them on an Ed rig. I caught them on a jig. I caught them on a 3.3 Kitech Carolina rig. I kind of caught them doing a little bit of everything, just kind of change it. Sorry?
No, Carolina rig. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was thinking about throwing that again.
I don't ever throw them.
Yeah, so I kind of caught them doing a little bit of everything, but I don't feel like I capitalized on as many bites as I could. First thing in the morning, I took the big swim bait, a big hog hunter, and I probably had six. I say 6 bites. It may be less, but I had multiple bites on a 9-inch swim bait, and I didn't connect on a single one of them. I don't know if it was just the fish were too small, spotted bass, spotted bass.
It's spots. They just try to kill it, come back, and see if it died.
Yeah, but essentially that's why I say I don't feel like I fished that well because I didn't connect on those big bait bites. Regardless of whether they were 15 inches or whether they were 19 inches. I just feel like I didn't fish the event well because I mean you guys know a couple of those big swim bait fish, if they were of the right size, would go a really long ways in that format.
Yes.
So that's why I don't feel like I fish as well. And then the other thing that also plays into my mind is vice versa. If they were willing to chase down the big swim bait, what if I didn't throw it and I immediately just went to your finesse applications and I just started catching them? Would I have caught more of the better grade of fish on the same area instead of wasting that time and pulling all those schools of fish off with that big swim bait? So that's kind of where my mind plays as if I didn't throw the big bait and I just went to catching fish, maybe I could have caught an extra 18-incher, maybe an extra 17-incher. I don't know. It is done and over with now, so I don't know. Or maybe if I added an additional stinger hook onto the big swim bait, maybe I could have caught that kicker. Maybe, who knows? Because they were obviously spots, just like Isaiah was saying, if it was a largemouth, they would have just had it. Odds are,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I mean, I'll tell you this: the where I was fishing at, I saw probably 15 or 20 landlocked kings jump.
Yeah,
and I started throwing a bigger bait to see. I'm like, okay, they got to be fish pushing these kings around.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's not. They're just jumping out of, I guess, just to do it. Who knows?
It was a timing and area oriented deal for sure. The big bait deal.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't get a single big bait bite after I want to say like 8:30 ish. It was the first 30 minutes or an hour ish of casting, and after that, all those they were there, but they you wouldn't feel anything. You throw it and you just pull them, and they just come off of the rock pile or from the ditch, whatever fish that you could pull. But yeah, just like Damien says, that's the gamble you take, high risk, high reward. But
yeah, that's true. You get one big that. I mean, that's gonna be huge in the tournament. So
yeah,
especially a team.
That's why
it's a good way to fish it. I mean,
yeah,
have your one guy go get a limit, and the other guy, hey, focus on getting a big bite.
Yeah. That's what our plan was, but the other guy didn't help me out getting a limit, so it didn't really pan out well. Yeah, that's what our plan was, but it didn't turn out that way. I was supposed to chase the big bite, but it never panned out that way. I ended up having to catch a limit first. Sorry, poor. But here you go.
There it is.
Question. Best strategy for when you fish a new lake. How do you know what part of the lake to start?
Great question, Judy.
I'll do it out from last year at Don Pedro. Never been there. I started with Main Lake. It's post spawn. I figured Main Lake was a play. Prisma, I think I placed 8th in that event. And I just kind of targeted points until I noticed, these fish aren't on points. They're on the in the pockets between the points. They're just staged there.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed getting my jerkbait, and then come tournament day, I went to the same spots or whatever, and those fish weren't there. But I noticed these spots were chasing my small swim bait around, but I kind of paid attention to where they were going back to. Well, I found a stretch of bedfish. So I'm like, okay, there's still some fish on beds, and that's what I targeted that tournament. But for that lake, it's just something new.
Sean?
Yeah, I like to use question because I mean a lot of it depends on the time of year, of course, and where fish potentially could be positioned and stuff. But before I hit the water, if it's a new lake, I'm going to pick up some kind of map, as simple as Google Earth or any other kind of map, some kind of topo map that's going to show some contours or something of the lake. Um, just have some ideas of where I'm going to launch from. If it's from a kayak, I'm going to start on usually some main lake points, and of course always paying attention to my graphs. If I start graphing fish that are most likely bass or to me just off the bottom, or I go over a rock pile and there's some little arches or something on it, I want to keep an eye on that kind of stuff as I'm going around to these points. Usually I hit maybe 2 or 3 main lake points, and I don't find anything. Then I'll start to away from the points. Then I'll start going to secondary points, leading to protected coves, possibly little creek channels, things like that. I don't know. It's just kind of break it down. Start off shallow, start off deep, work your way up or work your way down. Throw your confidence bait.
I think. Oh, sorry, Sean. Go ahead.
Oh no. I got 1, 2, 3, 5 baits I would take out right now to like any lake that I would take out right now, except for Clear Lake. That's a little different. So
I think. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot here.
Do it.
The way I approach it is very. I wouldn't say it's the best strategy, but it's pretty foolproof for me, at least. The way that I look at it is, so pay attention to what's going on with the weather. Very simply, that's your first biggest thing to always consider. Is it still the winter time? As in, are we starting to warm up? Are the days starting to warm up? Longer days? If they are, I will start in the back of pockets or in the back of creeks first, and then I'll work my way out. Simply because if it is warming up, these fish are going to want to go and start pushing up to go spawn and do their business. So for me, it's easier for me to start in the back and work my way out, just simply because those winter fish are still going to be there, but you may miss the opportunity to catch those bigger fish that are already pushed up. So that's where I would start. It's more so of what the weather's doing is kind of what dictates which part of the lake to start with. Quite frankly, some parts of the lake hold more fish. Just certain areas fish just want to spawn more. Certain areas just holds more fish naturally. There's more stuff for fish to spawn on, or there's more bait in that specific area. That part of it, you would have to just be on the lake and you have to go check those arms. You have to go check those arms. You have to go scan those points. You have to go look at those areas to see if you actually find fish or bait in those areas. And then you'll be able to dictate to fish there. But like starting right now starting about now till April, I would start in the backs and then I'll work my way out. Simply because it's pretty foolproof. If you don't catch fish back shallow, odds are the fish are still offshore on the deep points. If not, they could be on the ledges that are leading to the back, into the back of the spawning base. That's how I approach just about any new lake. And then there's also other variables that play too, right? If water comes up, water floods.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, if, like Folsom, for example, right now, right? Folsom, a ton of inflow. They're still dropping water as well too, but a ton of inflow. Flooded brush. If the brush starts flooding, those fish that were in the ditches, like this past weekend, they may push up to the brush. They may or may not, but they probably will rise up with the water and push up into the brush as well. Those are the other variables that you would have to fish over a long period of time, I guess you could say, to see that stuff happen. So that's your time on the water part. If that's just my approach. Though.
Yeah. I like it, Max. I like your approach. No, I love it.
Yeah. Damien, do you want to just jump on, Damien? I can send you a link. How long have you guys been? How long have Sean and Isaiah been competitively fishing?
I started in, I want to say, well, competitive. So I fished fishing derbies out of Rio Vista when I was like 12 years old, if you want to go that far back. But I fished, I think my first one in 96. A small little team tournament, annual team tournament at Folsom Lake. Then hold on.
That just means he's old.
Yeah, he did. He just dated himself.
May of 2000. Folsom Lake, the Golden State tournament. They had their my buddy and I got 4th place. We fished that out, a little 14-foot aluminum boat. Put a casting deck on the motor. Cool.
So you've been fishing for a quarter century competitively.
Well, you don't gotta throw a century.
Sounds better that way. It sounds better than 2 decades. 2 decades sounds worse than a quarter century.
Yeah, I guess so. But
yeah.
February 2019.
February 2019.
From a kayak. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been fishing you fished 2 decades off of a boat, and then you've been fishing the past half decade on a kayak.
Well, decades. Jeez.
Isaiah?
Yeah.
I've been tournament fishing since April of 2018. The first event was Berryessa Yakabas. Back when we all paddled and nobody had a motor.
Oh, dear Abel.
Abel.
Or prehistoric bass, like.
They were stupid.
Oh, dear.
They ate spinner baits and rubber worms.
Okay, Bill Dance.
Sorry, Isaiah. Sorry. So it's
it's all good. Yeah.
Do you guys feel like Sean, Sean's won AOY, so there's no debating Sean. We can skip over Sean. But Isaiah, do you feel like you've gotten better since 2018?
Oh, 100%.
I hope so.
If you look at how I fished then to how I fish now, you'd be shocked about how much I've changed how I fish. 'Cause I used to finesse fish. That's all I did. And now it's like, okay, now I could I'm rounded out. I can do it all. If I have to finesse fish and slow down, I'm going to slow down. But if I want to power fish, I'm going to power fish and cover some water.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
I'm glad you're growing, Isaiah.
Oh, whatever.
No, I like the way he fishes.
That many years of experience intimidates us.
I think Dave accomplished a lot more than I have. I've got Angler of the Year in the kayaks. I got non-boater of the year Bass Nation, and I got Angler of the Year Feature Pro, and that's it. I have not been on that Bassmaster Classic stage like Damien has a couple times. That's huge. That's definitely a goal to achieve. I think Dame has definitely won more money than me overall. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So that actually brings up a good point. I was actually thinking about it yesterday. Yeah, I believe yesterday. I was thinking about compiling a list of just anglers that have met just for us kayak guys. that have met a certain criteria of say whether he's won AOIs or how much he's won in earnings, career earnings. Because us kayak guys, we don't have that spreadsheet basically,
Yeah.
or top tens, or wins.
There's not a
or second
series
place.
There's not a series that would offer that much either.
No.
Well, yeah, but what? Just like statistics?
Yeah, just the numbers, just to kind of. It's not to bash on anybody. It's just to see, just kind of compare the numbers. But I'm not good at Excel.
Get that
So,
on X maybe.
huh?
I
Sorry.
wonder if you can pull that up on Tourney X. I know you can as an individual scroll through past tournaments, but I wonder if you could look at other people's finishes.
You can. You're able to. Yeah. If you're a member, I believe you can see what their most place is, their average length is, the total number of fish they've caught.
Huh.
Sorry.
No, want to pull up?
See, Max is going to look right now.
He is.
No. I was sending links.
Oh, that's all
More
good.
guys wanted. Yeah.
Yes.
No, so Tourney X does do the stats. I was also wondering like all-time stats, kind of like just overall top tens. Everybody's seen Dana's Tourney X stats, like 60% in the top 10 or something nutty like that. But I'm just saying, like, just to look at the stats to see who's had success and who has grown over the years. And then we just pull out of a pool of 5 years, guys that have competed in the past 5 years, that are still recent or active anglers, I guess you could say. But just something I've been thinking about. It's a lot of numbers to compile, and you'd have to pull from basically everything, from
that is a lot, yeah.
Yakubass.
That's just through Tourney X too.
Yeah, Fishing Chaos, Wild West, Wild West standings as well.
Wild West.
Because it's still a tournament, Question from AJ.
Yeah, what's up, AJ?
Biggest pet peeves when it comes to other tournament anglers.
You
guys are teammates. Yeah, you guys are teammates, so I'll let you guys have it. What's your pet peeves from other anglers?
Is that before we get on the water or on the water?
Or after? Like, which one? In general, ooh.
It's just that when it comes to other tournament anglers. So biggest pet peeves.
I think it's going to be ramp etiquette.
Yeah.
That's got to be my biggest, because there's times like I don't have a trailer, and I've seen guys sit down there and like, okay, unload my pack, or get all my rods. I'm all, if you strategize how you set your kayak up, you can drive down, pull your kayak out of the bed of your truck, throw it on your cart, and go, and launch in the water and be gone in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Or just a good old-fashioned rope, so you could take your kayak off the ramp and tie it off to the end of the dock. Not the first cleat, but, towards the end of the dock.
Yeah, giving space.
Instead of just dumping it right there on the ramp. I mean, some people just don't have the means. I get that, but I've seen a few tournaments, and it's because a lot more guys are getting trailers. And trying to back your stuff in, the dude just dumps his kayak there right in the middle of the ramp, and you're just like, huh, okay. You can't, I have a rope if you want it. That's one of my, definitely the ramp thing is definitely one. But, I mean,
well,
we all get on the water eventually.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of newer guys as well. Sometimes guys just don't know. That's first year tournament fishing, I guess you could say. So they're more used to less busy boat ramp.
Yeah.
Typically when you're out fun fishing, it's not as bad.
If they do something like that in the middle of summer, and you got a bunch of crazy drunk, I'll say drunk, these wakeboard guys or whatever, some of these hotheads, they're not going to have that. They'll run your shit over.
Oh, 100%.
So
I look at it like when I'm launching, I look at it this way. I pick the side that's the smallest because I don't take kayaks. Well, how much space do we really take up?
right.
The most 14 feet length and 36 feet, maybe 3 feet wide. I look for the smallest side, like the Comanche, for example. At the South Shore, if you're looking down the ramp, the far left side's the smallest one, and most boats won't use it. They go off to the right towards the marina and everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I just try to stay away from everybody.
I don't really have much pet peeves. Not in. I have to revisit AJ's question here. From other tournament anglers. Because so a lot of guys despise it when you get cut off, right? Like say for example, you're headed to that point. You motor right across the lake to that point, and somebody else goes and they just cut right in front of you and they sit on it. Guys who get upset at that, me personally, I don't really care much, because the way I always see it is if you wanted that point that badly, you can have it, because I'm almost sure that I could go behind you and there's probably fish behind you, in the cut or, wherever anyways. So it never really upsets me. I've never understood why guys get upset about getting cut off or, their spot getting taken, I guess you could say. But I don't really have any pet peeves. Because I don't take it that seriously. I don't take it that seriously. If somebody's on the point, I go down to the next one.
Right.
You go around them so many feet. Yeah.
Yeah. And if there's no fish there, then I don't know. Go to the cove. Just there's so much water that I'm almost certain that if I just went past him, there's probably more fish. Now, maybe winning fish, I don't know, but it doesn't. You shouldn't have let that person impact you negatively and affect your thought process of what's going on. Because if you're going to affect the guy that cuts you off, throw you off your game, or throw you off trying to catch more fish, it's just going to ruin your day of fishing or last hour of fishing, however long you have left. See, even Damien says it. Damien hates it when guys don't turn off their headline.
See, more ramp. Yeah.
Ramp etiquette.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah, that is a big one.
Yeah, it's all ramp stuff.
That is a big one. Definitely the ramp, but we gotta. As I always say, there's a lot of newer guys into it that may not know. So it's just, the best way to go about it is just, let them know so they don't do it next time. Yeah. There's no better way. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been cut off 3 times that I remember. One was at Clear Lake. I was fishing one side of, what was it? Dollar Island or whatever it was. So I went around and I'm fishing with keep him make repetitive casts. And the dude slowly starts creeping over. I'm still making casts. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm here. Same spot, making the same cast. He eventually still going around the island, and he literally goes over right on top of where I just made probably 100 casts in a row. Then I, say, hey, I'm fishing that rock pile right there. You're on top of it right now. Oh, okay, sorry. He goes over here and starts casting on the rock pile. So I'm like, hey, excuse me, sir. Like, I'm fishing this rock pile. And he goes, I've been fishing this island. I'm like, you were on the other side of it. I came over here. I've been fishing the last 30 minutes over here. And he just wants to argue, whatever. So I'm just like, you know what, dude? Whatever. And I just took off.
So that's Clear Lake for you, though.
Yeah.
Then sorry, just to clear up the headlight thing real quick. essentially for all the guys that either back up their truck to drop their kayak, off at the ramp, or they have a trailer and they back up their trailer to the ramp to launch their kayak, or even on a boat, right? If you don't turn off your headlights, the guys that are coming from the top of the ramp, they can't see down to back up their trailer to basically just make full use of the ramp to get things going. So if you have your headlights on, guys can't see to back up their trailers to launch their kayaks as well. Or, if their kayaks are truck bed loaded, they can't see to back down either because their headlights are shining into the mirrors. So that's mainly the light headlight thing. So that if you could turn them off so that guys can basically see the back.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
You can leave your running lights on. Those aren't a blinding light. It's the white light coming off is what blinds everybody.
Yep. So that's what everybody means when turn off your headlights so guys can see to back up their trailer. It's just it's not a rule, obviously, but it's just nice. It's just a nice gesture. That's all it is.
It's a gesture.
Yeah. Is it more proper to come down, turn around to back down, or back all the way down the ramp? There's no right or wrong way to back up.
Depends.
However you're most comfortable is what I tell people.
Yeah. If
it's one of the wider ramps, it's a lot easier to pull all the way down and make a turn. I know at McClure sometimes, depending on where people park at, sometimes you got to back all the way down that ramp.
Depends on what ramp at McClure's too. If you're at the marina ramp, it's a little narrower, or if you're off the point and the water's low, it's really narrow, and there's no turning around down there. It's you got to back it all the way down.
There's those little turnouts, but sometimes people park there in the morning to unload their stuff, and no one can turn around.
Yeah.
Again, just the ramp etiquette. So, but we'll get there. It's getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just trying. Everybody's just got to work together. That's all it is. Everybody works together, makes it easier. Less guys will be upset. More guys will be happier. Better experience is the word I'm looking for.
There you go.
Just makes it a better experience. Kind of went over this earlier. Kenny's got a question. Do you feel like being a tournament, fishing a tournament, made you a better angler?
Go ahead, Max.
Absolutely not. It made me worse, and I donated so much money when I could just spend all that money pumping gas and going to one lake for the past 2 years. Absolutely not. Tournament fishing made me a worse angler. It made me suck completely.
Yep.
It depends. So it depends on what you want to get out of it. And what I mean by that is if you're going to fish a tournament, without the mindset of trying to learn and understand what the fish are doing, then you're never ever going to get better. You really have to go into it with an open mind and to learn from successful anglers or other anglers that catch them. Even if they only catch one fish, you kind of have to talk to everybody. And what I mean by talk to everybody is the more people that caught fish that you could talk to and see how they caught their fish, the better you'll become as an angler. So has it made me a better angler? Me, not specifically. I've learned a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's just more ways to target fish. Then if you know where the fish are, learning what to do, certain patterns on certain lakes, like the little key nuances on certain lakes. Like, I'll throw it out there because we're not going there this year. But every year all the years prior that we've always gone to McClure, there's always, by the time we go there, there's always a topwater bite. And if you stick that topwater in your hand all day, eventually you're going to do well on McClure, in that May to June timeframe. But I know that not just because of tournament fishing, but because you go and you figure out those little key nuances as you fish it. So to me, a better angler is somebody that can make those adjustments on the fly. I don't think it made me adjust better just by fishing tournaments, if that makes sense. As in,
yeah,
you could make those adjustments fun fishing as well, but you could compile the information faster if you fish tournaments. So if you sucked and there's 20 other limits that were caught, then on that specific day and that kind of conditions, those 20 guys caught them doing X, Y, and Z. So it makes you adjust faster in that sense. So that's where you become better, in my opinion. But it hasn't made me a better angler personally. That's just me. No comments? Because I'm not going to add on.
No, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I started it just to fun fish. Like my buddy got me into it. It was like, hey, let's go have fun or whatever. I still look at it that way. I'm just here to have fun. If I win, I win. It's no biggie. But at the end of the day, like we go to weigh in, I'm still talking to everyone. Hey, how'd you catch them? How many you get? But I learned, okay, they're catching this way. What area did you go? I went this direction. Okay, don't go that way next time. Or you make little changes you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even then, don't listen to what Isaiah said. Sometimes you still have to go check that area. Because what happens
for sure, I do.
Saying. Yeah.
There's areas that I'm like, I ain't no fish here, and come tournament day, I still wind up going over there and looking.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. You always fish the conditions first, and then adjust to the conditions. As the day progresses, in my opinion, that's the best way to become a better angler. Is you adjust to the conditions, and that's how guys always catch them. That's how guys like Damien always catches them. He adjusts to the conditions.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, go ahead, John. Send it.
Oh, my thing with tournament fishing, it does make you better. My reason is my experiences fishing as a co-angler. If you fish in pro-ams, team tournaments, whatever it may be, fishing with different people, fishing people from different states, it kind of opens your eyes up a little bit more. Like for fishing the Bass Nation regional championship, they had at Clear Lake, so we got all the western states there. I drew a guy from Colorado, and we went down south. We went way down south to the point that I'm looking around like there's no other boats down here for a reason, because everybody's catching fish somewhere else. This dude pulls out a spinning rod and a jerk bait that big and starts whacking the crap out of the fish. And I'm like, what the heck is this guy doing? He's like, oh, there's like a little rock pile or hump there, and he's just twitch, boom, just smashing them. Next day I drew a guy from Arizona, and it was a whole new perspective. Fish completely different. He was throwing like rattle traps, LV 500s and stuff, and catching fish. Just fishing with different guys. I drew guys at Oroville. I tried to duplicate what he did at Folsom, but he went way up the North Fork in current. This was, I want to say, probably late February. He was throwing like the medium-sized whopper plopper.
The 90?
Big spots in the current in February.
That makes sense.
A lot of these experiences just kind of open your eyes up to different things, because I think we all kind of get in the tendency of throwing our favorite baits. Ooh, I'm gonna go throw the drop shot. I'm gonna go throw a jig. I love throwing the jig. I'm gonna throw a chatterbait. But open your eyes up to other things, like even the stuff I did with up at Orville with one of those guys. I was throwing a white chatterbait, and I started smashing him on it. And you know what he did the next day? He threw a white chatterbait, and he smashed him.
I think like there's a good example. Like if anybody wanted to get a good experience as a co-angler, one bass. One bass is probably, the shared weight bass boat deal is probably one of the best formats to go and figure out. Well, I wouldn't say figure out, but experience, different ways to catch fish or different nuances to catch better bass. Like some guys may not be following, but I'm pretty sure some of the guys in the chat are following. The one bass that's happening with Shasta right now. Joey, I can't say his last name. You eat bread. How do you say his last name, Sean? Joe Uribe? Uribe. There it is. Yeah, there it is. But he's fished. Yeah, he's leading day one with 20 pounds. And it's just there's guys that find those little nuances to catch 20 pounds on a spotted bass like heavy, those little nuances. If you pull that boat and you get to go with that angler, with that pro, you get to learn those experiences, or at least experience them and try to replicate it later on down the road. It's not about stealing the spot.
No,
you got to look at it as how did he catch those fish, and can it be replicated in the future? The spot stuff, stealing the spot, the area will only last so long. It won't make you a better angler in the long run. But yeah, I just figured I had to throw that out there because 20 pounds on Shasta is a big bet.
Yeah. So I'm in.
Do you guys believe fish are getting harder to catch?
Nope.
Oh, it's
not at all.
So,
I mean, there's the technology, live scope, forward facing, everything, but you use what you got. Like I don't run live, and I don't struggle anyway. I mean, I struggle places, but I still manage to catch some fish. Whatever, Sean. I'll take you back out to the bay. We could play that game.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Halibut. I know. No, that's a good question. That's kind of been, you see that on other podcasts, YouTubes and stuff coming up, but ever since they adapt and stuff, but I'm not seeing it yet. It's for face people have been using it the last few years, at least maybe the last 2 years, pretty serious, I guess. As long as we can still imitate what they're eating and put it in front of their face, they're going to eat it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's all evolving, but for technology in regards to most likely, I'm assuming the life scoping and stuff, I don't think it's making it more difficult. It's just open up our eyes more. So kind of what we've been missing and guessing, those answers are kind of being solved on a screen now. Like, oh, I think they want me to twitch my jerk bait. They like it this cadence. They like a twitch pause. And like, oh no, they don't. They like it when I'm just whack, 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 bam, and they eat it. We're seeing how the fish are reacting. We're seeing their positioning. We're seeing how our bait's falling. We're like, oh, they're looking at it, but they, for whatever reason, they don't want that color. Maybe I'll switch colors. Maybe I gotta, do something different with my bait. Who knows?
I think, just my opinion, as kayak guys, we feel like the fish are getting more difficult to catch, but they're not. I think what it really boils down to is, as kayak guys, we don't have the pleasure of fishing those bite windows, and so it feels like the fish are more difficult to catch. essentially the past couple of years, the big rains after the droughts, the fishing has still changed. And what I mean by that is we've had summers where there's big algae blooms and thermocline lines and so on and so forth, but the weather doesn't really stabilize where it hits a full fall or full winter. The weather has been much more lenient, I guess you could say. It hasn't really, it's not your normal weather that we've experienced in the past, you could say. And so things that may have played in the past are currently not playing now. And so that's just why that just makes it feel like it's more difficult. But that's just my opinion. You know, the fish will always eat. If you can find those windows that those fish feed on, you'll always catch them. It's just, can you find those windows? They're not. Fishing has not gotten tougher. It's just the anglers have gotten better, in my opinion.
If anything, if you have the technology, you know, referring to scoping and stuff, I think depending on how you use it. If you're just straight, you know, scope warrior, you know, all you do is just scope around. I use target fishing. I think I fish more efficient with it. I know where that rock pile is. It's 40 feet in front of me or 45 feet in front of me. I know where that tree is. I'm not guessing and wait till I, you know, fill it with my bait or something. I think it makes you more efficient. In my own opinion, at least. You know, baits are changing and stuff as well. Hello.
Hello.
What the? Pull up your.
He must be naked.
Probably.
That's why he's
I'm
not.
still changing right now, boys. Go ahead, Sean. I didn't mean to interrupt.
What?
It's the after dark.
Yeah.
You're very dark right now. We'll leave it at that.
Oh, jeez. You're killing me.
Keep talking, Sean.
We'll do a segment here. We'll change the topic here because Paul kind of wrecked us like always.
Hey, I didn't do that.
After competing for so many years, do you guys find it that regular non-competitive fun fishing days aren't as rewarding as they used to be?
You know, you go first, Max, or Isaiah.
I'll let you.
I mean, it depends. Like, if you're fishing by yourself, sometimes it's like, oh damn, I'm by myself, whatever. But if you got like a buddy or whatever with you, then you're just out there catching fish. It's fun. It's like there's days I've gone out and we've caught anchovies that were 4 or 5 inches. We just had fun. Like, that's it. Telling jokes, making stories. That's all we do. It's about having fun.
So, I think it depends on your goals. My fun fishing days are more rewarding than my tournament days. Simply because even if I fish just one lake all the time, there's always something for me to figure out. And whether I figure that out or not is on me. So even if I go there and beat my head against the wall for 365 days a year, if I don't figure it out, the moment I do figure it out, it's rewarding. Yeah. If that makes sense. So even non-competitive fun fishing days are rewarding for me because finding out that one little nuance is rewarding to me. So it just kind of depends, I guess, on your, kind of what the goals, kind of your mindset, I guess you could say. Not saying that tournament fishing, competitive fishing isn't rewarding, it's plenty rewarding. You know, when you beat guys and you win money,
AJ.
how is that not rewarding? You know, that's extremely rewarding, right? But the more that I fish, the more that I fun fish with more anglers and seeing how other anglers fish, it's more rewarding as well because you learn from the guys. If somebody catches a fish and you could duplicate what they're doing to catch fish, then it becomes rewarding. Like, say, for example, when I go to the Delta with Pua and Pua teaches me how to fish a chatterbait or Pua teaches me how to punch, then it becomes rewarding because I learned something new from Pua. And those are obviously those are non-competitive days, of, just fun fishing. Sean?
Oh, okay. Oh, hopefully not showing it. He could tell you where the launch ramps are at least. Hear that.
For what?
So, I don't for like non-competitive days. I actually love it. I work at a stressful job, stressful environment. Pressure from the parents or anything. Great time. Like I go fishing with Travis when I can, and we just have the best time. Like on my YouTube, the little opening one when he's like laughing and stuff. Dude, that was a day on the Delta that I'll never forget. We're in Mildred, found this bedfish, couldn't get her to go. There's a tournament going on, and we actually left that fish. I'm like, let's come back later. Some guys went over the fish. Dino was there. We came back later, and we're both kind of fishing for the fish, but Travis throws in with a jig and hooks it. I go down and lip it, and pick it up, and we're just laughing and stuff. It was like the best time, and just to be there for that moment and be there is worth it, And I had a lot of fun days on the water. I remember my last time I was with one of my buddies. This is probably like a few months before he passed away. I was finally able to repay him back for all the times he's taken me out. And I took him out to Folsom, and we just had one of those epic days that all the smallmouth, the spots were all up on beds, and every single one of them wanted to eat that day. And all I did is just put him on top of fish. He dropped down. He hook them. I lip them. We haul up the fish, unhook it. I let it go to the next one. Hey, Gordon, there's another one. Hey, there's one right there. I didn't catch a single fish that day. I just put them on fish. And, that's just one of those memories on the water that, it's better than being in a tournament and stuff. Just things you never forget. So it's definitely rewarding.
What about you, Pua?
I still think non-competitive days are really rewarding. Because you're still out there trying to figure out, I mean, granted, where you may be in your years of experience, but you're still out there trying to figure out a bite. And whether you figure that out or not, I think if you can take into consideration that it's just fishing, it's still a fun day, But I think in terms of guys that have been competitive for a while, I think it's evolved now, right? Now you're out there, now you're trying to figure out a bite, figure out a pattern, and put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So I still think that it's still really rewarding to just go out there and fun fish because initially you're still trying to find the pieces of the puzzle together to put on a good bag or have a great day out on the water.
Not everybody is Damien Tao. We can't just go out and catch a bunch of fish and have a rewarding day and catch many stacks of fish. Not everybody's like Damien Tao. A lot of us are average anglers, Damien.
Yeah, you can't just go out there and expect to get 25 pounds every time,
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Most of us are average anglers, Damien. We're not as good as you.
Yes, sir.
I don't hate it when you guys intrude on my fun fishing days, AJ. It's more so whenever guys join me, it's not that I hate it. It's just I always try to put them on fish.
You play guide
And
essentially.
sorry.
You play guide essentially.
Yeah. And so every time if somebody joins me, my goal is to put them on a 10-pound. Because that's what when I go fishing, that's what I go fish for as well, regardless of whether it's conventional tackle or big bait tackle. So I hate it when I can't do that, if that makes sense. As in it, I don't hate having company. I hate the fact that I don't achieve my goal. Not that I'm good enough to put people on those caliber fish anyways. It's just that's my goal every time. So that's just sorry, AJ, if it seemed that way. I don't hate you, AJ. I love you long time.
Love you long time.
Uh-oh.
There was question here that I saw. Thought
Sean.
yeah, go and saw it. I seen that a while back. You mentioned at the beginning of the show. Thoughts on bigger fish? Are they less
I got
abundant
one.
than back in the day?
I got one for this.
Uh-oh.
No,
Go for
I'm
it.
being serious. So look at it so let's break it down to a 5-acre pond. So you can have 300-400 1-pound fish in that 5-acre pond. Out of all those, how many are going to grow up to be those bigger 5+ pound fish? Maybe a handful, maybe just one, because the abundance isn't there. In a podcast I just listened to, if you go out and say the lakes that are heavy in spots, so Maloney's, McClure's, maybe Pedro, Berryessa's that way, and you keep those 12 to 16-inch fish, your fish are going to get bigger, and the bigger fish will come back. It's not about having genetics. Like I know Texas does a genetic program where you catch fish over so many pounds. Okay, you swab it and then you send it off, and they figure out where the genetics were from. Well, if it's over 15 pounds, they'll take that fish and breed it and spread that fish across every lake. Well, the genetics aren't what make the fish. It's about having the abundance of food in order to make your fish a certain size that could be missing. Like this last year on Berryessa, I couldn't find fish from 12 inches to 15 inches. They were nowhere to be found. Every fish I caught last year was over 15, and now it's the opposite come winter. Like, oh, now all the smaller fish showed back up. Well, it's because that those fried went and hid and went hide in the grass or wherever where you couldn't target them. That's my thought on it.
What's your thought, Mr. Delta King?
Yeah.
Because the Delta's the fishery where everybody's saying it's on a kind of on a uptrend, but it's more stable than it is on an uptrend. It's kind of not fishing like its heyday. What's your thought, Mr. Average pool Tamara person?
I think it goes back to the old saying of, when a big fish gets caught, they get smarter every time, right? I think that plays into it, as well as I think there is just a feeding window for these bigger fish. And if you're not there at the right time, you're going to miss the feeding window for the big fish. And, it seems like the abundance of bigger fish, like, your 8s and your double digits on the Delta, it's really declined. I'm not sure why, but I know that they're still there. I think it's just a matter of timing to get those big fish to bite. And I think it really depends on the fishery too. How over the course of the years, like let's say, back then 10 years ago, right, 8 and 10 pounders were relevant. I think it just takes time. These fish will probably show back up, in a couple years sometime soon. Hey, the wizard.
Oh, it's a party.
Oh, we got a party going on.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm just here to soak up some good stuff. I saw Pua jump on, friggin' Isaiah and friggin' this guy over here is on, so I'm like, oh, okay. We'll see what's up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pua. Continue your Delta story.
Continue on, sir.
Yeah, but you know, to be honest, I'm starting to see, from my prior trips out on the Delta, I'm starting to see a lot more 5 to 6 pounds, 6 pound range fish. And that's kind of telling me that I think, those 8 and 10 pounders, they're probably going to be showing up soon. If not this year, maybe next year. Um, and I think that one year where we got hit by a really, really hard storm for the winter, where we got a lot of rain, I think that probably relocated some of them. And they're probably trying to push their way back up to, certain areas that they're comfortable with. So that's
Uh,
just kind of my prediction on it.
how far up do you think they're pushing?
Where-
just to the
where in
shallow
the Delta?
spots. They got washed away to the depths, and now they're coming back up.
Yeah. Where in the Delta are the fish going?
Yeah.
But on top of that, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, a lot of guys. There's probably a lot of guys out there that are catching good fish, and they're just keeping a zip on it. So that could be the case too. So
I guess
soon.
is the only one that knows.
You got any thoughts on it, Sean? On why the big fish declined?
I mean,
Less abundant?
I can't touch on the Delta. That's Pua's thing, but I mean, look at
Well,
Clear, for instance.
Yeah.
I know there was that video that was floating around on social media about tournament angling is affecting the bass population. Maybe where you live, and that study can be skewed one way or another. So look at Clear Lake now. Look at what John Pearl's been doing there and other anglers. Dude, 30 is the new 20 there. So big fish, heck yeah. Clear Lake is getting back to what it was. And was that in 2005, 6, somewhere around there. So, and I think Max, you talked about this a while ago about how lakes go in cycles and stuff. And so certain lakes are on different cycles and stuff. So Clear Lake is definitely on the up and up. The flooding that happened, I don't know how many years back, definitely helped with all those brush piles we all saw in front of Rodman, other places in the lake. So there was the successful spawn, all the other bait, everything that the bass prey on at places to multiply and hide. So that's a super healthy lake right now. And there still are big, depending on what you consider big bass right now. Double digit wise, Comanche every year kicks out, a 15 plus pounder, there's still big fish. I mean, decline. Oroville's coming up. I remember the good old days in Oroville, a 5 fish limit, and you get 7 pounds, you're getting a check. Shasta used to be that way too. Oh man, you got 7.5 pounds. Oh, you killed it today.
Yeah.
And that's not the case now. I mean, it's Joe who, Max? What's his name? Joe who is the first?
Uribe.
There it is. Yeah, with 20 pounds. So that lake's on the up and up also.
Junior, not senior.
Yeah.
Uribe Junior, not senior. Go ahead.
And I listened to a podcast that had Neopis on there and Randy Pearson. They're talking about the average size fish they're catching. He was catching 1.6 pounders, then he came into 1.9 and 2 pound fish. So Randy was thinking he needs around 11 something to be in contention for that and hopefully stumble upon a larger fish. He ended up catching like a 7 pounder there. But he was a big believer in those. You're catching a lot of 1.9 pounders that there's 3 pounders mixed in. And when he was catching the 1.6 pounders, there was occasional like 2, maybe a 2 1/4 pound mix in there. So that lake's on the up and up.
So here's my thought on it. It depends on what you refer to as big fish.
Yeah.
If you're referring to the 13 plus range, then it's not on a decline. It's more so if people just aren't talking about it. If you're talking about the 17 plus, then yes, 17 plus is on the decline. Um, Simply because the flocking programs aren't what they used to be, whether it's in Northern California or Southern California. Those, the quote unquote 20-pound class fish that California used to kick out of the little ponds in SoCal,
Oh yeah.
those don't come around anymore, simply because those stocking programs aren't there anymore. And if they are there, then they're not really dumping as much trout as they used to.
Right.
That being said, if you're referring to the 17 plus or 16 plus range, there's not that many. Is there still the 13 to about 17 range class of fish in California in general? Yes, there's plenty. Your big swim bait guys catch them every year, whether it's on Pedro, Maloney's, my home pond, Comanche, as Sean was saying. Those fish are being pulled out. It's just nobody talks about it and nobody wants to talk about it. And the reason why that is because the moment that they talk about it, the power of social media, everybody goes to that lake they sit on that lake.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so that's why nobody hears about it. Social media is just too powerful and people hold jump all the time, which is fine. Yeah. But it's just, that's why people don't share that they catch a 15 or a 17 or a 14 or a 13. And if they do, it's probably because the fish are no longer there. And what I mean by that is that bite is gone. That bite is gone. So they don't share it. Or the fish have already moved to a different pattern. And so they share it because those fish can't be targeted anymore. So if you're trying to catch a big fish and you're following somebody that's catching big fish, and then you go fish the lake that he's fishing, you're probably already behind in today's big fish community, social media, craze, if you want to call it that. However you wish to mumbo jumbo that whole ordeal to it. Because by the time they post it, that bite's gone.
Yeah.
So there's still plenty of big fish. It's just not you won't see too many of your 17 plus. You probably won't see too many 18s, 19s, or 20s coming out of California anytime soon. But you'll see 17s. I'm pretty sure you'll see a 17 every now and then. You'll see a 16 every now and then. But not too many of your 18s and 20s out of California. Yep. Not like back in the day.
I haven't seen those in a minute.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. It's like I'm gonna chime in a little bit, I guess. But honestly, I was kind of following the Kissimmee tournament, the Bassmaster event. That was just, if you look at the bags and the numbers that were pulled out of that, it's like, wow. Like, I was talking to Guillermo Gonzalez like the other day, and I was congratulating, got second place, and I said, "What was the bite?" It's like, spinner bait. I'm like, dude, awesome, right? Almost had 100 inches both days. I mean, so big fish, and I agree with the Pua on the Delta. Like that winter that we had just that ton of rain. Really, honestly, I think they just moved the fish, like you said. I agree with that, like totally, 100%. I think a lot of things that I think we think too is culture makes a big difference. Like, so everywhere else but California, right, is bass fishing is huge. Like, I'm excited to go to the Bassmaster Classic in Texas this year. I'm lucky enough to be able to go and just want to experience it and check it out, right? So trophy bass fishermen across the nation, like, other than California, is humongous. So if somebody catches a 5-pounder, 6-pounder, whatever that may be, a bass, largemouth or whatever, they're just, because it's a sport and they've been grown up to be like, okay, this is a coveted trophy bass. I'm not taking it and harvesting it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting it back to let it grow for generations to come. Where here in California, I mean, I know our tournament fishing scene is great. I'm not saying that, but it's not like it is everywhere else. So like on the Delta, you have people fishing for striper, catfish, crappie, harvesting meat, whatever, and largemouth fall into that. They're not coveted as trophy fish. They are elsewhere in the. So these bass that are there, like you got to imagine, like how many 3-pounders, 4-pounders, 5-pounders, 6-pounders like get pulled out of the Delta every day and get put on a frying pan, like.
Yeah.
So, and we're limited to. We were just talking about this, and we're, kind of like, well, where do we bass fish? We got Clear Lake, we got Berryessa, we got, we were talking about obviously the Delta. So there's only a handful. Like I was talking to, once again, downloading from that Kissimmee chain event. It's like, I don't know how many lakes were open, but it was huge. Like there was like a ton of lakes. They were all spread out. And there were 200 people fishing this tournament. And like, I think one person said there was one launch, they had 15 people there. They thought it was packed with 15 people there. And it's funny because most of the people that finished in the top, I believe 20, were kind of fishing like maybe 2 or 3 lakes, I think, out of however many there were that were open. So I think it's an opportunity. It's more opportunity. It's like you catch a fish there, a bass, and it's like boom, like take a picture, I'm letting it grow. I'm letting it. Whereas here, I think harvesting fishermen or fishermen that go out there because they want to catch fish and eat it, and they far outnumber us as trophy bass fishermen out here in California.
Yeah.
So you can imagine like all those fish just every day. Like my sister bought a house at Delta Shores in Bethel Island, and that used to be an awesome place to bass fish, right? Before more of the houses start getting built, they start killing the vegetation, spraying or whatever they do. But they have a group chat. I don't know if it's on Facebook or whatever, of people that just catch fish there. And it's literally largemouth bass, like 4, 5, 6-pounders on stringers. People just take them and like eat them. It's like, so it's just, the culture is different too, I think. Yeah, I think we have that working against us as well.
Well, if our entry permits weren't $35 to get into the lake, maybe some of these people wouldn't be taking fish home.
Right.
Yeah. Just saying.
True.
Yeah.
They got the right to. They pay for a fishing license. And
yeah, they do. Yeah,
or
for sure.
Or don't
Well,
and keep them anyway.
Yeah, but it's like that. But like I said, it's a different culture. Like as you raise, like I have my wife's family. They have family in Tennessee, and they're always catching bass. But it's always like, oh, it's take a picture, catch them, and you're letting it go. And like I'll be honest with you, my mom and dad, they see me put a picture on Instagram of a fish. They, did you take that fish home? I'm like, and cook it? I'm like, no. I'm like, nope. Why not? It's such a waste of time. Blah, blah, blah. And, and it's like, there you go. I mean, that plays into it too, I think.
Why are you letting it go?
Why you let it go?
Yeah.
You're just wasting your time.
This. We'll we drive 2 hours, right, to go catch and release a fish, and guys are like, why you let it go? Like, I'm not in it to eat fish. If I want to eat fish, I'm going to go fish for something that's worth it. Striper, halibut, salmon. I'll go fish for something that's worth it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, it's culturally, traditionally, however you wish to say it is just kind of the West Coast thing. I guess
different.
You could say.
Yeah, it is different.
I know somebody that caught a 15 on my home pond and ate it.
Damn.
Last year.
Probably did not taste. That probably did not taste like, good, dude. That could not have tasted
like dirt.
That
like last year.
I had to fight with my dad when my sister bought her house at Delta Shores, and he was just starting to get into fishing again. I got into fishing because of my grandfather. My dad wasn't really a big fisherman, but my sister has that. So we're on the dock, and I'm just messing around, I'm throwing a Kitech or something, just throwing the lure. And my dad was like, I want to catch some fish. I was like, go get some worms and a bobber, and we'll catch some bluegill. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, watch this. So he literally dropped down. We're catching bluegill, and was like, no, I want to get a big one. I'm like, Dad, I guarantee you fry that bluegill, you're going to love it. Like,
Yeah, right.
You're absolutely going to love it because it's going to taste great, right? And like now he's all about it. He's all about bluegill and crappie. It's like, so, but I'll catch a largemouth every now and then, like a little 12-incher or something under the dock, and I'll just like make sure he's not looking. I'll throw it back. Hilarious, though. But yeah. But I will say, like that storm, Pooh, I agree. That storm that year, whatever was that? Pre-COVID?
17?
Yeah.
18?
Yeah, something like that. It was
18
18
or
or something like
19,
that.
I think it was the same year
Yeah.
the spillway at Oroville broke.
Ah,
Yeah, right. Yes.
I think it was
correct.
17 then.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a great fisherman, and I would go on the Delta, and like it was like I think the best ever day I had on the Delta was in February, and I think I had 103 inches or something like that in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, and like I used to like go out and have fun, like have not days like that, but close. But I would say after that storm, it's like you get a 5 or 6 pounder, like you're pretty stoked right now, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, pretty exciting. So, definitely cool.
That's good stuff.
Dude,
Chris
what about,
Harris
dude,
is,
how fun would it be to go throw a spinner bait, like, and catch 102 inches in January and February, like in Florida, man?
Yeah, that's freaking amazing.
It's also Florida. I mean, granted, they just had
Hey,
a storm, they would say it. I mean, there was
yeah,
snow on
when
the
there's storm.
beach.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was snow
right.
on the beach.
And that
So
warming trend. And a warming trend
yeah,
after that, right?
so you
So,
look at
I
it, and
know.
if you look at the genetics of the way fish grow, if you were pulled an ear out of a largemouth bass that weighed 5 pounds here and a largemouth bass that weighed 5 pounds in Florida, the growth rings are much tighter together here than they are in Florida because they have more warmer water.
yeah.
We get our winters and our water get cold, and the water gets really cold, so it slows the growth rate down.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, definitely different areas for sure. I mean, Florida's there's a reason why people love fishing over there.
Go look at Max's Facebook for that one.
yeah. 1,
I'll
2,
tell,
4,
I'll
5.
tell you this. There's somebody that I know. There's somebody that I know that recently caught a 35 plus pound bag out of there. Pretty recently in the past couple of weeks. So
Yeah. Wow.
you'll see that when, if they ever decide to post it. If they don't post it, it's okay. But an acquaintance that I know of. We'll leave it at that.
Have you guys been following up on this yak off that don't take it out of context?
Oh, that's whoa! You started it.
Don't take it out of context, right?
Those are nasty words.
We take everything out of context.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why this is so much fun, right? I mean,
yeah,
but kind of funny, like just the whole premise of it. I mean, I didn't realize they're like first place prize. I think they're giving away almost $3,000 for that.
What I kind of looked into, was it like regional based? I looked at it, or based off your state?
I have no idea, but I was
I kind of looked at it. I didn't like it. Whatever.
We're gonna vote for AJ. AJ, sorry,
Yep.
like I posted on Facebook that I was going to vote for somebody else, but I didn't know they were going up against AJ. So I'm voting for AJ for sure. Albeit that it was Wesley Gray, who's a female. So I mean, like, of course,
which brings up a good point. We should say it now before we go too far off. AJ is competing in the yak off contest. He's trying to be the
Yes.
best yak offer. So remember to vote for AJ. Is all I'm trying to get at.
AJ yaks off the
So
best on the West Coast.
yeah. So whoever's on the West Coast here, try to vote
But
for AJ as best West Coast yak offer.
I'm
Please.
not gonna lie. I was a little offended, right? Because I didn't get invited to this, and that's kind of like why I'm here.
Hey, don't feel bad. I didn't either.
Like none of us did, right? It was like, well, AJ did. I mean, but I think it's probably through Nuke maybe, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it's like,
I
what was the
I
criteria for that?
also did get the invite sorta, but
Yeah.
I'm not the best yak offer, so I don't I I mean you guys see my setup. My setup's
Hey,
extremely bare bones.
it's
So
utilitarian. It works.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all. That's what it
whatever
boils down.
works for you, big dog.
Whatever
yeah.
works. Yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's not a good rig. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is I don't have all these fancy accessories, so I'm not
Well,
going to enter the competition.
Oh,
honestly,
like some
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
On to tell you the truth, you look at some of the stuff on there, it's really not like anything crazy besides like
Yeah.
fluke master and like guys that like have the coin to do it. AJ Yakov, yes.
AJ for Yakov.
Yeah, I just don't want freaking Chad Hoover to win. Okay, so just
What is it? I didn't look at the post.
I don't know.
it's a kayak build off. It's a basic kayak rig contest.
Oh.
Like you vote for who has the best rig, or who you think has the best rig,
I can
and
Come on,
like
come
you
on,
get
Mr.
a
Bluetooth. Come on, Ramel. I saw that build you did in one day.
oh dude out of my suitcase, yeah,
Yeah, right.
with Siri, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that was.
I was like, I guess I didn't meet the criteria, so I mean, but it is what it is.
I'm a
I'm a
classic.
closet
I'm a
Yakov.
classic.
No, you're
Yakov.
not. No, you're not. Stop it, dude. Carbon fiber guy.
Which brings up a good point too. Chris Harris just opened up his shop for custom parts. You could say.
Wasn't that those carbon
Well,
fiber parts that he just put
yep,
out? I saw.
Yeah.
yep. I mean, Ramel probably knows most best about it. You want to give Chris the plug, the whole deal.
Dude.
Chris doesn't want to
Honestly,
jump on.
like basically one of the major flaws on the especially with the 300 that came out is the retract. So the mod is basically to create a retract arm that sweeps forward. So when you bring the motor down, it automatically centers it so it doesn't fall sideways. So and
Oh,
then build
with steering cables.
yeah, or just in
Okay.
general, because the weight of the 300 makes the motor flip on its side when it's retracted, and that because it's an aluminum bar, once you take it out of and put it sideways, it wants to bend.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So Chris basically designed one with a angle forward and out of carbon, which is the coolest material in the world. So why wouldn't it do
Hey,
well? Like
I still
yeah,
got the carbon lid you gave me.
there you go.
I got a saw somewhere around here.
I tell you what, like I've always thought, like people always tell me this all the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, you should totally sell this part." And I'm like, "Yeah," and then 5 people would buy it, and then like whatever. But to tell you the truth, I mean, honestly, like working at Newport has kind of handcuffed me, like personally, like as far as like creating and like coming out with stuff because there's obviously conflict of interest in some of that stuff. So like Christopher Harris, like we talked and discussed. I kind of helped him out a little bit with settings on the CNC and whatnot. But like him going through the design of the steering triangle, awesome design. I posted on there. I would buy one if I needed it, and I think it's a great upgrade for sure. And yeah, check it out if you have a 300, especially NK180 doesn't really need it because it's light. But if you have
No,
a 300, you have a 300, get it. It's good stuff. for sure.
Yeah, Sean, come on, big dog.
There you guys go.
Sean still needs foot steering.
He's not gonna get no foot steering.
Dude, if Sean got foot steering, I guarantee you, like, I hate it. Don't game changer. I hate that, but like shot, like, yeah, you're gonna see because we just got our old buddy Travis back in.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I
With
heard about that.
yeah. He got a hell of a deal from somebody. I don't know, but
I heard about
you know,
you. Somebody text me pretty quick.
well, I mean, Travis Lear was the first person I kayak fished with when I moved to Manteca 10 years ago. We just met by chance online on the Yakabas forum. This is kind of what's cool about Yakabas and why it's still around. I think it's because you got all walks of life, all kinds of people that meet up, and we end up doing stuff like this. And I had the opportunity to offer him a good deal, and I wanted to get him back in because I know he missed it. And you guys just went to ICAST, right? And you guys were looking at stuff, and
He
I
was,
gave him the opportunity.
Oh yeah.
What was it? Wasn't he in the Perception pilot before?
He was a pescador.
The Pescador pilot, not Perception.
Yeah. So we were so when I first met him, we were he was in a Seaghost, an orange Seaghost 130, and we were both, and I had my Pursuit, and we were both car topping on SUVs. And I think we both dropped our kayaks off the roof trying to get them up on there because we were too stubborn to ask for help. Like, I had just met the guy, right? I'm like, man, I don't want to show this guy that I can't get this stupid thing on top of this Tahoe. And
Y'all probably
literally,
both had that in mind.
yeah. And then we imagine us both. We're at Tiki Lagoon, and so he had a Suburban, and I helped him put his Seaghost on top, and I had a Tahoe, and I put my Pursuit on top of that. So that was hilarious. That was pretty funny. But I had the opportunity to make him an offer to get him back in because I know he's been wanting to get back in. He missed fishing tournaments and doing kayak stuff with this community. And once again, I'm blessed to be in the industry and to know and to have contacts and whatnot. And I found it an opportunity to get him back in. And dude, he there again, I was like, did you see he got a GPS map 12 for that thing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
He got all out now. I'm like, dang, dude. I was like,
Come sports season. I know we're gonna who we're hanging around.
Yeah, dude.
Just Bluetooth
sure.
to the unit.
Oh man, dude, it's crazy. I saw a picture of somebody posted with one of those NBT screens on a Garmin. Like they have an 18 and a 20, I think, or 21.
Oh yeah,
something like that. One of those had a freaking 18-inch NBT on the front of his XDR. I'm like,
why? I just thought about it. They should put a stripper pole on top of that XCR. It would make a great meme.
Well, I'm building one right now, so maybe
hey, we'll let Max test it.
Oh yeah,
Max's idea. He's got to do it.
Yeah.
if only I could, I would. I promise. With the pink Crocs.
With the pink. Yeah. Right, dude. That would be extreme for sure.
Just saying that's the right platform. It's the right platform. If you're sitting there and you look forward, it has the deck, and then you have a pole. Just saying.
Dude, it's weird though. Like people
it's doable.
I mean, dude, let's build a platform for a Pursuit and do it. I mean, Pursuit Unlimited and do it.
Yeah. No, mine's a functioning kayak. It's it's a kayak that catches fishes.
It's not a catch dollars kayak.
Fish. Yeah.
It's interesting though to me, like the direction that people are taking that kayak in, because they designed that kayak to have that deck so you can stand and fish off it and walk on it, but people are mounting graphs on it. It's like, what's the point then? Got a big kayak with
That's how your sight
You
fish.
know, yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
know some
sure.
people that need extra height to sight fish.
Right?
Dear, you guys are lovely teammates. Um, that being said, you know, I think it'll come around. Um, Everybody's just on that forward facing sonar craze. And so guys are getting that boat to fish offshore. But I think once guys kind of roll around and get past that and they start going back to bed fishing, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure eventually. I guess the other thing that also hurts is perspective mode, right? If you have
Mm,
perspective mode and you can see those fish from far away on their bed sitting there, there'd
yeah.
be no point in actually having the higher platform, you know,
Right.
No.
because you could, yeah, because
Yeah.
you could sit way back, not even look at the fish, and make that same presentation without those fish knowing that you're there.
Yeah.
So
Right. So
that's
you
probably
guys are all pretty much live scopers, right? I know
Nope.
Sean. No. Isaiah,
no.
you don't have it?
No.
I
Max?
don't live scope. I don't live
Man,
scope.
stop it, dude.
Get out of here. Come on.
Get out of here, dude. So let's talk about perspective mode. Like nobody, like everyone that I talk to that is a live scoper right now that I know of never uses it. And I'm like, okay, is there a
So
point? Is there
yes.
like
So I'll tell you based off what I've seen. I've seen on the Delta.
Yeah.
Like this time of the year or during the fall, when the fish start, like the stripers specifically, start pushing the bait into the shallow flats,
Yeah.
it plays because you can turn to perspective mode and it does 100 and whatever degree angle of
whatever,
view.
how many degrees,
It's
right?
like
Yeah.
160.
Yeah, like 160 or what's it's between the 130 to the 180. It's that
It's
wide
It's a
range.
pretty big spread.
Cone, yeah. And what they're doing is they're using it to see where those schools of striper are and where the
Sure.
schools of bait are. So they're leading the fish, as in they're making that cast to lead the fish and catch them. That's on the Delta as well. So your shallow water applications where you can see those fish on a big flat.
Yeah.
That's where I've seen it happen most of the time. I mean, we got
Right.
Chris Harris on here. Chris Harris was also using perspective mode on Clear Lake to target those schools of fish that are moving on those rock piles. So I didn't talk to Chris to see exactly how he's fishing it, but I'm gonna take a guess, and Chris could correct me if I'm wrong. But he was taking a drop shot. He's letting these fish come into the rock piles as those fish were transitioning, the schools of fish moving into the rock piles, and he was fishing it in front of him, and he was getting those fish to follow it down to eat it.
That's interesting. I mean, like I figure like when I think perspective mode, I think like or Clear Lake, I think about dock fishing. Like, does that work? Like I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't.
I think it would be hard on Clear Lake because there's side scanning the docks at Clear Lake. There's so much debris on some docks that you couldn't. I don't think you could run it. It'd be better off just pointing at the pylons and looking around them.
Yeah.
With your standard forward facing.
I think it will play very simply because instead of essentially if you look at the two modes and you compare the two modes on live mode, if the fish are on the bottom, you don't really see them. Versus if it was on perspective, where it's like an eagle eye view, if that fish, even if it's sitting on the bottom, if it moves its tail, you're going to see its tail moving in perspective mode. Yeah. So
interesting.
If those fish are hugging bottom, odds are you'll see them. Or say if they're even like on a post sometimes, like on Clear Lake.
Right.
Yeah, on a pillar. If you don't hit them just right on your forward facing sonar, you're not going to see them on that forward mode. Whereas on a perspective mode, you'll see the length of the fish.
Right.
But as a
now you got Sean thinking about doing something different.
Yeah.
Well,
but also,
okay.
I'll get both.
Before we jump too far, as Chris says here too, you can't see too deep with it. So there's a certain depth to it, to where it's ineffective. So he's saying about 15 to 20 foot is kind of optimum.
That's
The sweet spot.
That's the same
right?
thing you told me, Max, because I wanted to use it for sturgeon.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's the trend right now. Like, so all these aftermarket manufacturers. So Sniper, there's a couple other ones that are making a perspective mode mount so you can adjust the angle now.
Yeah.
So before it was just perspective mode was just flat and you just dealt with it. But now they're designing that's kind of, well, there's two things now. So one is being able to tilt, and now they're making it so they're putting the transducer right underneath the pole. So it's not
Mhm.
offset anymore.
I
So I
saw
don't know,
that.
like, how big a difference does that make, you think? I mean,
It does.
like, it does?
So,
Okay. I don't
well,
know.
so
It's like,
it's more of for the guys that don't have it, right? If you haven't used it with the let's just say forward mode, just
Sure.
forward mode at all, you have to adjust just very slightly off of where the arrow is pointing in order
For
to
the
get that
offset.
exact. Yeah, for the offset.
Okay.
So if it's
Got it.
directly under the arrow, you can make that more direct cast.
So again, it's
So
like, it's literally like right. It's not like this anymore.
Y-
It's like right
yes.
here. Okay.
Yeah. So
That makes
Well,
sense.
then you wouldn't have to worry about that wire, the transducer cable either, twisting up a bunch of times if
Yeah.
it's going through a pole.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that's one of the things where you start to see like people coming out with is
So it,
like, yeah, that offset.
so it does help with for the guys that have essentially put in the time to kind of understand how to make that offset cast to accurately hit it. It won't affect them much, but I think it would be better for the newer guys that are getting into it to be more accurate with their casts in the grand scheme of things, and especially on very far casts, it would really help because now you know that you just need to line it up exactly and you'll hit it.
Right.
What are you showing, Sean?
Nothing. I'm just adjusting it. The lighting is kind of bugging me.
You're old anyway, Sean. There's no need to look good on camera. The angles don't matter that much anymore.
I think I'm the oldest one here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh well, this goes back to our recent comment earlier about Sean's been fishing for 2 centuries or a quarter century. Sorry, not 2
Yeah,
centuries.
quarter century. No, 2 centuries. A little. Whoa, damn.
Yeah, quarter century.
There you go.
Your thoughts, Sean?
Sounds good.
Oh,
Live scope, offset, not offset. Like, I think, and a lot of it is like the just all the, and you want that thing as straight as possible, right? Like, you don't want it to be like, tilted like this. You want it to be like
No,
perfectly
as
like
possible.
straight, right?
I want everything completely accurate, so I know exactly where to cast and everything. I don't want. This is my opinion, at least. I'm hoping to eventually be able to do perspective and regular at the same time.
I think you only need to add another transducer to do that.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you need
sure
another-
on what
need
the
another
box.
too, right?
Yeah, another
Yeah.
box.
the exception.
I thought they
the
had a
ex-
bigger box that runs both.
The exception would be if you went Hummingbird and you got the no black box because Hummingbird
Oh, their new
system,
Mega Live.
Yes,
Yeah,
Hummingbird
Mega
system does
Live.
not have a black box like Lowrance or Garmin.
I thought Lowrance's new Eagle doesn't have one either. It's all built in.
It does not,
Yes.
but it doesn't have as many cones, right? It's only like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So you wouldn't be
very
able to
limited.
run perspective on it. It's only forward with the Eagle. Yeah.
I would like to have one screen perspective, another screen just the regular. So I'm literally just scanning around, covering everything that's, in front of me within like 100 feet. That'd be nice.
I mean,
I'll be honest with you guys. I will probably get rid of Live Scope once I stop tournament fishing. The only time I'll have it. So the only time I'll have it is if I want to target crappie. And if I'm not fishing with crappie,
for sure.
yeah, then I'm gonna I won't use it if I ever quit tournament fishing. And when I do, then I would basically put it away until it's crop season, just because the enjoyment of figuring it out without live scope is what I've always enjoyed doing. And now it's just I see them, and I just need to figure out what to do to catch them. That kind of takes out a lot of the joy for me. So the unknown is just the unknown for me is what I need. I want to get back to, just for me. Yeah, I rather not know how they react. If that makes sense.
I kind of agree with you there. As just like I think we talked about it last week about Havasu. Like just watching that stupid live scope around these stupid these cages and watching fish swim back and forth and like trying to get them to freaking react to something that sucked.
I feel the same way. I don't want to get stuck at looking like you're gonna get stuck on a school of carp for 4 hours. You're like, why won't they eat anything? I've thrown the kitchen sink at them, and then you finally realize, oh, they're not bass, they're carp.
Oh. Yeah, but that being said, you know, if you want to be, let us know.
Yeah,
yeah, but you know, to be realistically, to be not to be competitive, but it's a tool that you should take advantage of in the tournament scene if you have it. That's all.
I do see. I do see that.
Yeah, if you don't have it, you're kind of at a disadvantage, but you don't need it to not have that advantage. You can still catch them. It's just
right.
Yeah, it helps. That's all it really boils down to.
So I know I jumped on late, and you guys, I think you guys were talking about the team tournament thing. Do you guys enjoy that format? Do you think it's think it's cool?
No.
No?
No, stay away. Stay away.
No?
No, it was cool.
So myself and Sean didn't really enjoy it because our backs hurt after carrying our teammates the entire day.
I did catch a bigger fish than Sean. I did catch a bigger fish than Sean if you want to count his 17s only.
Yeah. So Sean and ours back, you know, our lower back has been aching all week. You know, I got home and I couldn't even go fishing the next day because my back hurt so much.
Because all my back hurt. Your backpack is too heavy, huh?
You were soaking wet because the rain gear didn't hold up.
But
Dude,
you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's cool.
You know, I mean, like for me and Pua, you know, it's just fun to get out there and figure out the fish together. You know, kind of dissect.
That's kind of cool.
You bounce ideas off of each other. I mean,
pre-fish the same way.
Yeah, pre-fish for us was probably the funnest part of it. Is where, oh yeah, they're not in the ditches, or oh yeah, they're on the points. You know, just examples. You know, I caught more fish in the ditches. I caught more fish on the points. You know, on the rock piles or on the wood. You know, bouncing the ideas off of each other is what makes it fun. So, you know, the team format's a lot of fun. Yeah.
We'll be at the next one.
I hope so.
We'll be there.
Yeah. So for the guys that don't know,
I kind of know where the next one's going to be. So.
Yeah, I too also know, and I should probably say it. Yeah, it's not official, so it's just kind of tentative.
It's not.
It's tentative right now, as in we don't know for sure yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's supposed to be moved to Don Pedro. March 1st.
The first,
yeah. But it's still tentative. It's not official. You know, the whole permits and everything.
Well, the only reason is Maloney's. I don't know if you guys heard. Maloney's pulled everybody's permit off that lake.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
They're not Maloney's is going to be a no tournament lake this year.
Yep.
I don't like Don Pedro. So.
Where did this old guy come from? Oh, that's Daryl.
the wizard is cute.
Oh man.
But like what you said earlier, Max, how we're not going to go to McClure this year. That might happen.
Yeah, and if it happens, that's fine too. As long as
it's only another lake that's 3 hours away.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. I drive up there to you guys all the time.
I don't give
Okay.
a shit. I could
You know,
care less. I just want to go catch fish.
I drive 2.5 hours to the Delta. I drove 3 hours to Folsom. I drive 5 hours to Clear Lake.
Damn.
Yeah. Is that all right? Question: any of you guys got any new fishing related stuff today,
New?
this week or last week? Anything new?
I
Like
do.
new baits or anything?
Whatever, baits, lures, gear. What? Anything new?
Hold on, give me a second.
Let's
Well,
see.
I'll go first.
All right, let's see, Max. What do you got?
I don't have it on me, but
Uh huh.
since I am on the computer, I'll pull it up real quick so that
Okay.
everybody can go buy it
Yeah.
while it's still in stock.
Uh-oh.
Let's see it. Let's see what we got.
It is called the Rapala Mooch Minnow.
Mooch minnow.
So
Okay.
everybody knows the
Hold on. I got one right here.
Everybody Google search it. Everybody Google search it right now.
No, I got one right here. I'll
Mooch
pull it out.
minnow.
Oh, do you have one, Isaiah?
Sean,
I got
we're
a pack of
grabbing
them, yeah.
anything.
Down. You're scared.
So essentially, I'll give you guys the rundown on it.
All right, what's the rundown?
So everybody's talking about Sakamata shads, and everybody wants to have a Sakamata shad.
Yeah.
It's this bait right here.
Yeah, Isaiah's got it right there.
Oh, okay. Dude, was that
I'll
like
full
a
screen
dragonfly tail or what?
I'll
Yeah,
full
it's,
screen right now,
here.
Isaiah.
Do it again.
Let's see.
There you go.
Oh,
So
interesting.
essentially, on the back end of the tail where there's those two little flaps, it acts as a very natural shad. Go ahead, Isaiah. You can throw it back up there.
Where's my carrot?
It acts as a very normal shad.
Interesting.
So you know how when you look at a shad as it swims underwater, it doesn't have a huge roll or a huge kick. That's essentially what that little fin on the back does. So it's just barely quivering in the back.
Huh.
So
what's nice about these two is they're elastic.
Yes, and they also elastic.
Elastic, huh?
So
interesting.
So everybody's on the Sakamata shad thing, which is great. Don't get me wrong, Sakamata shad's a great bait. It's caught a lot of fish. It still is kind of like the standard of your mid-trolling lures, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But that moochman will fill a subtle role, as in when the fish are on more of a subtle bite,
right there.
a subtle presentation. Because basically it's a more subtle presentation compared to a Sakamata shad. Is kind of what it boils down to.
Huh.
Very
So
cool.
not only that, but when you shake your rod tip to get it to roll, it rolls easier than compared to a Sakamata shad because the wings on the Sakamata shad kind of like to lift it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's got the wings on the side.
So the Crush City Mooch Minnow likes to roll a little bit easier. Oh dear.
Right. Put on one of those heads.
If I had some.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
And that means with that being said, those heads, I'd like to go less than a quarter.
Less than a quarter?
Yeah.
Is
1/8.
The reason why I say that is a lot of our lakes are clear, Highland reservoirs, they're clear.
Mm-hmm.
These fish will come up a long ways to eat it, so you actually don't have to get it down to them. You can actually hold it way up higher in the water column and have them come up to eat it. An example, I'll throw it out there on Folsom. I was fishing for fish that were on the bottom in 30 feet of water, and I was getting them to come up 15 feet. So I was keeping that bait. Yeah, I was keeping that bait in 15 feet of water, and they were coming off the bottom in 30 feet of water to come up and eat it. Yeah. So they see it a long ways.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you don't need it to get all the way down to 30 feet. You can keep it much higher in the water column. So that also means you don't have to have a heavy weight because you don't need it to sink fast because you can let it sink. You only need to let it sink 15 feet. So it's not that bad.
Oh, what's that?
I know about those.
Nothing.
Go ahead, Sean.
What's that, Sean?
I know about those, Sean.
How many people? So I've been messing around.
I hair jig.
Oh, East Coast stuff.
Nobody throws them out here.
Nope.
I do.
Not for largemouth though.
Nobody
I
throws.
do.
I don't throw them for largemouth.
I
do.
Max, like, I do. What are you talking about?
I don't say anything about it, but I do.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue, Sean.
No, I tied this one myself. I tied like 3 of them, and nobody throws them. Oh shit!
Well,
Now
yeah,
you're solo, big dog. There you go.
I don't care.
Yeah.
On
'All
3/8.
right.
That's the front of the head. I mean,
That looks juicy. That looks like striper bait candy right
oh,
there.
but in the
Oh.
water for a bass. Oh yeah, it's going down this year. But
I mean, like, it makes sense. Like, I throw rabbit for jigs. I mean, they work. Like
Or bucktails work.
bucktails, yeah.
Yeah.
You
They
just
work.
yo-yo those off the bottom. I might throw in 1
Yeah.
ounce, but
Right.
yeah, you see him do that at. So you pull up a video about how to fish hair jigs on YouTube. They're gonna throw it out there, let it hit the bottom, stroke it up, let it fall,
Yeah.
do all that. Why can't we fish those like we do minnow baits when we're scoping?
Yeah.
Same thing. Cast it out. All right, cool. It's just above them, and we're twitching it, whatever, doing that.
You
Yeah.
can.
That makes sense.
I can
You
make
can.
size too. So
I got some stuff. This week. Let's see.
well, now that you're on minnow style baits, I don't know if you guys have seen the 6th Sense the jungle minnow they came out with.
Yes, I have seen it.
So I thought about
jungle
Ned rigging these.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you?
Just because, I mean, I didn't bring it a Folsom.
Uh-huh.
But because the way the tail acts,
fish if
it's
you
going to
want.
flutter no matter what you throw or how heavy you throw it.
What do you mean by flutter? As in it kicks? Or
Oh, it's going to kick on the fall.
Mhm.
Because the end's got that, the way it's set up, it's got the end that's got the round ball. So that's itself is going to float if it zooms in or focuses.
1 second.
I got these in this week.
That
Yeah.
end's going to cause it to kick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead of being your normal straight, like the hog farmer style baits, that end's going to kick.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Ramel. I see you too. It's show and tell. Send it.
Hey,
Got
I
these
want
in
one of
this
those.
week.
Shoot.
I need to get one.
Yes.
So we got our container shipment. So I'm doing qualifying testing, and they're going great. And so they'll be available, I think, next week or the week after. I think.
So tell people what that is, Romel.
So this is
Yeah,
the
I don't know if everybody knows.
Low Pro 12100. So basically, this battery fits inside a 16 by 16 black pack flat. So it's only right under 4.5 inches tall, and it's 14.5 by 14.5 inches square. It's got waterproof connections. So the battery comes with I think it's like a 4-foot cable, right, that you connect to the battery. And once that connection is on there, it's 100% IP67 waterproof. The 12100, this one, and the 2450, they float. The 36 volt
sweet.
50, the 3650 does not because it's too heavy. But
It floats, you said? The battery floats?
This floats, yeah. The 24 volt and the 12100 float. So
Okay.
That's so
yeah.
cool.
So when you guys first dropped those, I'm like, oh, perfect. No more battery in my black pack, and I can run that under my seat.
You can.
And still have plenty of storage space to store my other baits.
Totally. Like in my my PWR has a pretty high seat and a lot of room underneath. So I can actually stack 2 of those batteries on top of each other, like underneath my seat. So
So sorry. Let's go back to this again. You said the 12100 and the 2450.
they float.
Both of those float, and the 3650 doesn't float.
Does not. Yeah, it's just a little too heavy
Okay.
because it's
Sean, you need a new battery.
Why?
Yeah.
Why does a battery float? Is what I'm
It's the
trying to
case.
get at.
It's the case they're putting it in.
Yeah, because we have
Okay.
buoyancy built in. There's foam that surrounds. There's CNC cut foam that surrounds the whole battery
Okay.
inside that you don't see, of course. And
Yeah.
just for those people that might flip, or if you put this inside your black pack and you flip over, your kayak flips, and the lid opens up and the thing
See, where it'd be nice
goes
to put that
in.
is in that what's that black pack extension? That little 4 inch or
Oh, it fits in
Yeah. The
there.
short
fit.
stack.
Yeah, the short stack. That'd be
It
perfect to put
fits.
in there.
It fits in the short stack. Yeah.
That's if
But
they can re-engineer the black pack to put the short stack on the bottom.
on the bottom. Yes, correct. Yeah. See, what else did I get? You guys know
Awesome.
these.
There you go. Before you jump on, they're asking about costs.
Oh,
Ah, cost. Oh
Yeah.
boy. Um,
oh.
let's see. I believe when we launched at iCast, it was $7.99, $6.99, and $5.99.
Oh, that's
But
not
that
bad at
might
all.
change. So that might change a little bit just because of um,
Ter-
we're at a different
Tariffs.
time. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that may be. But they're gonna be competitively priced. Well, not priced like Lifetime or Redodo or any of those other brands, because those are completely on a different level. Not saying that those are bad, but they're just on a different level as far as price cost goes. But like these ones will be comparable to like all your upper end batteries, like your Millers, your Biowinos, your Dakotas, Ionics, and so on and so forth. So, but it's just in a different form factor. Um,
Yeah.
so all your Hobie owners, like dude, like that fits under your seat, which opens up more room,
That's
in the
exactly
back.
why.
Mhm.
I have guys that have 16 by 16s, and they put this battery standing up vertically like this, and they have their black pack behind it. So because it only takes up 4.5 inches of space, like so in their tank well, it's literally you got your black pack behind it right here. So it sits on the backside. So
Yeah, I thought
there's
about it because then I have another battery to run full throttle with, and I don't have to
yeah, exactly.
spend my
Right.
time running at 80% across the lake. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, Sean, go fast.
I want to go.
I want to go fast, Ricky Bobby. So yeah, I got a buddy of mine sent me a BuzzJet, regular BuzzJet.
Ah.
So wake bait.
Yes, one of my favorites. Actually, I like the junior, but my buddy was like, "Yeah, throw that." And we got a couple more bass puzzle grass piece flexes.
Nice.
Have you guys have seen those?
I don't fish those too much.
Hell yeah.
If Pooh was on, you might get a little excited, but he's probably tried them already. Still go back to his standard.
Yeah. he's probably
Chatterbait.
gonna, yeah, still throws jackhammer.
Yeah, right. For sure.
Awesome.
Holy
Yep, that's
crap.
all I got. That's all I got new.
Well, I don't get free stuff like how you cool guys get, so I don't have anything to show.
I don't get
because
free. I don't get free nothing.
I don't
Those
get
were a
nothing
gift.
free.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
Yep.
though.
I wish I had foot steering kits for people here, but I don't. Those got.
Mo,
Those
I
sold
know
out
you-
like instantly.
Oh gosh, dude, they're. I wish. It's funny is I get so many messages. I wish all the time that I had a bunch here for people, but I don't. Unfortunately, it's like I don't manufacture them. I don't make them here and send them to Big Adventure. They manufacture them, so it's like, I really
Yeah,
wish
you-
I did, but
Made the prototype, and
yep,
there you
I
go.
did.
So cool.
Yeah. So I mean, you can still, yeah. I mean, you can make it on your own. I mean, there's people that do it. James over at Kayak City was doing it for people, like, but you can buy it. If you're not handy, like some people are, if you don't want to take the time to have to drill and tap holes and like, do stuff. I mean, just go buy it. But
Well, you're not some yak off. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yak off and win and go buy one. So, but
Or you
yeah.
can yak somebody off for it. You can also do that too.
Mm.
Just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's your other option. Just
Maybe.
That's the other option. Yeah, for sure. I guess for some, not me.
Right, fellas. No.
But
Yeah.
should we end it, gentlemen?
Yeah.
I gotta wake up early tomorrow, fellas. No.
Why?
Yeah,
Where are you
we're
going
gonna-
fishing?
No,
He's got to work.
I gotta work. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But let's end it there, gentlemen. Thanks for everybody that's listening, that's still listening. And thanks for jumping on and chatting with me tonight, guys. It seems like this is just kind of like a regular core group is what it seems like now.
Hey, whatever happened with that? Before we end it, with that jig giveaway you guys were doing?
Joseph Tax is working on that. So they've essentially compiled. Joseph Tax is compiling the list, but Damien popped this out. He said, "Can the guys plug in their sponsors that support them?"
Oh, jeez.
If they pay a fee, yes.
Ah,
I mean, if you count me, myself, and I,
there you
We're
go.
very broke here on the community hole, so if they pay a fee, then yes, they can plug their sponsors. But yes, thanks everybody for listening. We're gonna end it here, and let's have some fun fishing.
Hell
Tournament
yeah.
season's kicking up. Don't forget to sign up and get out there. Yak and Bass Gamblers is next event.
There we go.
Let's do it.
Good night, everyone.
Later.
later.